You didn't get in on that candle sale? I heard everybody talking about it.
Me and my uncle went up there around 8:30, and a lot of the stuff was gone.
Mm.
Yeah, I know the LDE music.
But that's still a nice little
Gonna do you. That's cool. Yeah. That's a cool intro.
break it.
You gotta one up this right here, Pat.
It's horrible.
This is from the stockpile, right?
Whose beat is this?
This is the stock beat.
So if I hit the share button, what else do I do?
Just hit share. And you can write post and you just say nothing at all and then post. Or you can share it to inboxes.
Share it to a page. No.
You can copy the link.
Alright, I'm gonna stick to producer. Maybe just like
Sure. But it's sharing from your page though. You already mixed up with mine.
What's that?
I didn't even try tea. I don't know.
well, somebody said they like that beat.
Oh, they did?
Okay, you got to come on with it, Pat.
I think it is nice actually. This is pretty newsy.
Okay, here we go.
Everything.
No. Topic.
Hello, Facebook. This is the gray area. This is your boy Ray E.
This is your boy P. Wilson. What's happening?
And this is Ebony. How's everybody doing?
Man, Ebony, your mic sounds so good today.
Yes, Lord.
Mike
Got you up out the corner and got you to something that's gonna let us hear you.
You got a promotion.
You moved over a seat.
Right.
We have a very special show for y'all tonight. Our brother Muhammad is back in the building.
Assalamu alaikum, man.
Wa alaikum salam. Pat, it's an honor to be on the air with my brother, my sister again.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Appreciate you, man, for coming.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, man. It's been a while since we talked to you.
Yes,
As
sir.
always, there's always things going on around the world.
Mhm.
It's a constant battle. You know, we got to keep informing people and keep them knowledgeable about what's going on and just keep pushing greatness in their heads.
That's right.
You're releasing a book. Your book is is it out already?
Already released.
Yes,
It's already out.
It is out. Yeah, we
Okay.
have 3 books out now. We have Before You Say I Do,
Okay.
which is a book on mate selection.
Yeah.
To one of the 3 sciences the slave master said they never wanted slaves to learn. In 1867, when we were first, they were in Congress voting on whether they were going to let black people get college education. And they had 2 rules. One college, but there's 3 sciences that must never be taught to black people in no college or university. One was the science of warfare. The other was the science of finance. And the third was the science of mating. Mating meaning picking the right woman as a man or the right. You know, it'll be good since the most important decision either help inspire you to grow into your greatness or they'll confine you to complacency. They'll either be your other half or they'll make you half of yourself. So choose wisely. So that book became a guide for that. And then, of course, when we put that book out, I do.
Yeah.
And then we have Let This Mind Be in You,
Yeah.
the master messenger and the minister, which is seen by many as kind of like a synopsis of some of the cardinal teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, broken down in a very user-friendly way in a small book. So those are my 3 projects, and I've got another one another book already written I haven't released, and one more coming out.
Man.
You've been traveling a lot.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Still
sir.
going all over the world.
Yes, sir.
How does it feel? Let's talk about that for a moment, man. Going to all these different places around the world, you know, and they're inviting, you know, they're accepting of the knowledge and everything. So tell us about that and how's that feel?
Well, you know, it's one of the greatest things about life is whenever you can make a living doing what you love. And when I first got into the ministry of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad with the minister, I was 17. And I never wanted to be in the ministry. They made me get on the roster because they seen me studying a lot. A voice in my head loudly said, "This is what you're born to do." And you know, just like all the other voices inside your head, I call it the Christ consciousness, or your Muhammad mind, or your Allah awareness inside of your own brain. The God, I think that was Pookie Muhammad talking inside my head. That wasn't Jesus. That was Justin. So I ignored it. But you know, over time, you know, I fell in love with it, and I don't think that I like doing anything as much as I like being able to help people in the most important way, humanly possible, which is what you said earlier. It is the building and the development of the most important tricep, or the tricep of the brain.
The mind.
The brain. That's right.
The most powerful thing. Body, man.
That's it.
We talked more about the different colors of food that you eat. And I don't know if y'all paying attention, but on social media, everything is tainted.
Yeah.
Salmonellas and everything. Nothing is being made properly. All this processed food is coming out, being recalled. I mean, you know, can you?
Well, there's you know, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he did a 58-week lecture series called "The Time and What Must Be Done," and it's on pretty much every subject that you could ever imagine: Bible, Quran, science, nature, food. And in one of them, he talks about a concept called nutricide. You've heard of genocide.
Nutricide, okay.
Homicide. Homicide is the murder of a person. Genocide is the murder of a specific ethnic or racial group. Nutricide is whenever you use food as a weapon to kill people. And so the weaponization of the seeds by, I call them Monsatan. Their real name is Monsanto, but they really Monsatan because they manipulate seeds. People are, even if you try to eat healthy food, the food that you eat has been grafted. It's been tampered with. It's been molested. It's been raped. It's been violated. So you're not even eating the percentage. The minister said in that lecture series, now of course, we've been in the hells of North America for a long time, and it has never been, as Trump say, make America great again. It ain't never been great.
That's
to do it again. A carrot in the 50s had 6 times more nutrients than a carrot in 2018.
Wow.
So it takes, you have to eat 6 carrots today to get what you used to get from 1 carrot 60 years, 70 years ago. Grown out of the regular ground.
Wow.
So the soil itself has. Do you remember when you were growing up? You just when it rained, you see worms everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't see worms no more.
Man, that's a good point.
Now, do you know worms are the actual balancer of the ecosystem of the soil?
Yeah.
Worms actually make soil. What worms do is they eat the nutrients in the soil that currently exists. Detoxify the soil when they digest it, and then they spew it back out in the form of waste. And that waste that comes out of the sperm is new mud, new dirt that has been purified and has been nutriently enhanced.
Wow.
So when worms are not here, you hear people talking about the bees not here. Bees not here because there's no pollination now. The bees are. Worms not here, there's no reproduction of quality soil. So you can plant a good seed, but if you got it in bad soil, what is it going to draw strength from to grow? So it's nutricide, you know, going on. So I would suggest, you know, that we got to do a little bit more. I won't even say a little more. We have to do a little less eating. And everybody at the gym, they always calorie counting.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to keep your gut down.
Right.
But you also better do some chemical counting
Mm.
if you want to keep your brain active.
Right.
And if you're reading any food that you're getting ready to eat, and there's a paragraph on the back of it, and you can't even pronounce it, let alone know the meaning of industrialized commodity, posing as, I call it frankenfood.
Mm-hmm.
It's not real, and you can't do real work on fake food. You got to eat real food to do real work.
Right. Wow, man, it's just so much knowledge, man. That's why we love having you here. You know, breaking in that knowledge and understanding of what's going on, and to be a better you. We're going into 2019 now, and for some reason, we always meet at this place where everybody is deciding that next year is going to be the year.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
going to be the year for me coming up.
But it starts with your mind.
Yeah,
there
and
it
starts
is.
with eating better and clean.
The concept of the New Year philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
because it gives you an excuse to hit the reset.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing with me
Mm-hmm.
all of the taught knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and the bought knowledge I've gotten from these last 25 or 35 years of me being on the taught knowledge is meaning what I learned from books and observing other people.
Sure.
Bought knowledge is the knowledge you gain that you paid for with your own life experience. That's the only two types of knowledge you're ever going to get in life.
Right.
And since, you know, a fool learns from their own mistakes and wise people learn from others, it's always better to get the taught than it is to bought. But we come to every year with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good thing to be able to say, I'm going into 2019 and I'm bringing with me all of the taught knowledge and the bought knowledge that I've learned for the last 35 years of my existence. And I'm going to package it all up together into a thrust of power, and I'm going to throw it at the new year that I can make the new year what it's supposed to be. Problem, no. See, in science, they say that that the law under which a thing comes into existence gives that thing its nature. In other words, how you start something is how the whole thing is going to go.
Yes, sir.
So how do you start the new year?
Right.
You can't say that this is going to be the year of weight loss, and you start the year off with the biggest piece of red velvet cake you can find. This is going to be a year of discipline, and you started drinking as much as you can drink. This is going to be the year I'm going to find Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, and you kiss the first person that you see. No, however you want the rest of the year to go, start it off like that. And we always are very excited about change. And we get excited about the promise that change brings with it.
Yeah.
But what hurts is that we get frustrated and distracted, and this says change has attached to it.
Sure.
So yeah, get excited about the promise, but know that there is going to be a process, and the process of change is not some instantaneous one thought, one meal, one workout. It is a campaign of self-discipline. Do you know when change comes, Brother Pat? Change comes when the mind collides with a new idea and you make an uncompromising decision to do something different until you get to the objective. That's the only way change comes. You have to let your mind collide with a new idea. Then after your mind collides with that new idea, make an uncompromising decision. I'm going to start doing something different until I get where I'm trying to go. That's the process.
Absolutely. Me and Pat.
I just answered 3 questions that were all in my head. I was like, what? Okay, then I'm going to ask him this. And then he came with something else. And that's something. I'm out of questions right now. So I can ask him more. But he answered 3 in 1 just by talking.
Praise be to Allah.
Me and Pat was having a conversation, about how we see, and we've had many people on, we have people who don't believe in the black community. We got people who do believe in the black community. And I will say this, in what you're doing with teaching knowledge and traveling all over, what do you see? What do you see our communities doing? Are we going backwards or forward?
But whether we know it or not, black people, and God didn't choose us because of melanin. He didn't choose us because of our color. Do it. If you look through scripture and history, there's never been a people that have caught more hell than black people in America. You'll find people that called hell, but not Malachi 3 and 6, where God says, I am the Lord, I changeth not. Means that God has a method. He has a pattern, and his pattern is consistent.
Yeah.
Anytime a people get in a mess, he gives them a messenger. When the people have problems, a prophet comes to the people. When the people start warring with one another, a warner comes to solve the war. Whenever there's a people that are in a crisis, then Christ is.
Right.
That's the pattern of God. Well, we can't say they deserve Moses. We can't say that the people of Palestine were in a state of mental slavery and blinded by rituals, so we got a Jesus. You can't say that the people during the time of Prophet Muhammad in Saudi Arabia were killing their little girls and engaged in fighting and killing one another, and they got them a Muhammad. Or the people during Noah were killing one another, so they got a Noah. Every condition that everybody has ever had that brought birth to a divine man or woman, 1,000 more added to it. So I say, and we say, that we believe that the same God that has a consistent pattern that gave a messenger to all of the peoples of the earth, what kind of God would he be to see us in the condition we're in and leave us out here without some divine guidance? Well, we don't believe that God is unjust. We believe that his pattern is consistent and that he's the Lord and he doesn't change, and he did it for them. He's going to do it for us and has done it for us. So we look to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as a way to make you into a better you. How do you get involved in a program that has a daily regimen that has an impact on all three sides of the tripart being that we're made up of: mind, body, and soul?
Right.
We believe what God gave the Honorable Elijah Muhammad addresses mind, body, and soul, and allows us to practically apply the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Quran, the Metuneta, the science of life, all together in a way that we can exact change. So we catch in the same hill, in the same place at the same time, from the same people, whether it's in New York or Nevada, whether it's in Indiana or Idaho, black, where there is a black and white dynamic, and white people aren't on the top and black people aren't on the bottom. I don't care what kind of government it is, Democratic, Islamic, Judeo-Christian, Christian, Hindu, everywhere you go, socialism, communism, you go to any socialist government and the white socialists on top and the black ones on the bottom. And we're not on the bottom because we're the inferior. We're on the bottom because we are really the superior that are being oppressed and suppressed because they know in every part of the world, if the playing field was ever level,
We'll destroy them.
we would be the Tiger Woods. We would be Venus and Serena of God. So they have already figured it out. You know, they used to have an old saying, nigga sing, nigga dance, nigga jump, nigga die. That was on the plantation. Which means that these are the only 4 areas of human endeavor we're going to allow black people to manifest their greatness. If you ain't singing, dancing, or jumping for me, that's sports or entertainment. And the only other field is you got to either be dead or be dealing in death. So we're the masters of selling dope. We're the masters of sport and play. We're the masters of entertainment. Because these are the areas of human endeavor that they've allowed us in without hindrance and suppression. But God does not create hoopers. Did you hear that? God does not create wide receivers. Anybody you see on a football field that can throw or catch a ball or dunk or shoot a ball, they have a greater calling on their life than the sport that they're involved in.
Wow.
They just use their gift, skill, and talent that God gave them in an area that they can manifest it without having a lot of opposition. But LeBron James would probably be a much better engineer than he is an athlete. And that's why I love his slogan more than an athlete that he has out right now. Because what does that send down to the minds of young black people?
Right.
That you don't have to become great in a basketball jersey.
Right.
Be great at what you're born to be.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's a little long of an answer, but
no, that's good.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Because I mean, we often talk about these kind of things where you just listed. You know, you ain't jumping, dancing, running. It's always something where we feel like we have to go into these different things, but we can be dentists, doctors, surgeons, you know, scientists.
That's right.
Engineers.
A mental athlete.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's wrong with being a mental athlete? So how do we remedy this? Do you know in the black community right now that many, I won't say many, most black parents celebrate their babies for sport accomplishments more than they do for academics?
I was just about to say
so you seen whenever a high school basketball team wins, parades are set out.
Yeah.
2-3 parades, shut down the whole city.
Yeah.
Let's go, Ben Davis. Let's go, Warren Center. The whole city making accommodations for the athletes. But what about the mental athletes? See, children get celebration. They go out to dinner. They get new shoes for being able to get 20 yards this game, scoring a touchdown. But how do we treat our children whenever they are progressive in academics?
Absolutely.
I'm saying that at the end of the day, I remember watching a dunk contest whenever Blake Griffin, that man jumped over top of a whole Kia Optima.
Yeah.
And after he dunked, black people's condition didn't change. Jumped over top of Dwight Howard's head. I remember one brother, I can't think of the brother's name right now, but he put a cupcake on the rim.
Gerald Green.
Gerald Green.
Wow.
That man, he jumped with a cupcake on top the back of the rim, got up there and blew it out, and then dunked on the way down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Question is, what impact did it have
None.
on the condition of the people?
Right.
Probably made us want to be athletes more.
But that's it.
Right.
But I'm saying that to say that chemistry, as you mentioned, science, real estate, business development, medicine, law, these are nation building skills
Absolutely.
that our babies should be praised more for academics, for athletics, then we will have a paradigm shift in the culture of the black community, and it won't be long before we'll see more people want to be great at that.
Sure.
It's almost like a stigma if your child is not in a sport, you know. My child is not athletically inclined, but he has a brain, you know. And it's like a stigma, you know. You ask a parent, so what football team does your son play for?
Put their children in sports for a whole different.
Come on.
White people put their baby up. You have a black, like right now, you have 750,000 black boys playing high school basketball. 35,000 of the 750,000 will actually go to college and play basketball. Out of the 35 and the 45 of them will actually make it to the NBA. And out of the 37 or 45 that make it, only 7 of them will get a start in NBA. Is 3 to 7 years. So you telling me that there's 750,000 black boys competing for 7 full-time jobs that ain't gonna last but 3 to 7 years? Something wrong with that mathematics.
Oh yeah.
So when we send our babies into sports to become a professional at it, the minute that they don't make it to the league, they don't make it to the NFL. Now their spirit is broke. They don't have nothing else going. They end up being out in the streets, depressed, a broken black man.
I was there.
But white children, because their mothers never sent them, they learn sacrifice, they learn discipline, they learn leadership skills, they learn organization, they learn how to categorize the personal problems of life to be able to still do what you need to do in the moment. And when they bring those principles up, instead of trying to, and the next thing you know, the same little white children that were half the athlete your son was, took the principles from the sport and applied it in the business, and now they live a successful life where they have an impact and create a legacy for themselves, their families, and their people. We have to do the same.
Absolutely.
Do you think a lot of that has to do? You mentioned, like these white kids that have like they take these principles because their father is probably like a business owner. But yet me, my father, he was, in and out of prison, but basketball, man, was my outlet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of those, I mean, he'll tell you, I was one of those kids that, at a point, before I got hurt,
yeah,
I was getting offers to play pro. And when it didn't happen, I was just down, I mean, I feel like that was all that I had. I was, 23, 24, and, just super depressed about everything. Yeah. But then, apply what you learn into, other things. And, I'm thankful that I did that. But do you think that a lot of those opportunities are because they have like a stable home environment, but yet we don't?
Yeah, that is a major factor. And again, they are the gatekeepers of all of the fields of human endeavor. Mm-hmm. White people that do not like black people by nature. The Caucasian people that are in power. You and I are the bird and they are the hawks. You and I are the small fish in the sea. They are the piranhas in the ocean. The bird and the hawk have feathers and beaks, but they're natural enemies of one another. Mm. The hyenas and the lions have 4 legs and fur, but they're natural enemies of one another. Mm-hmm. The small goldfish, the carp, and the piranha all have gills and fins, but they're natural enemies of one another. Whenever you have people that are in power that are your natural enemy, mm-hmm. they are going to do everything that they can to keep you out of those fields of human is because of a catastrophic blow. Think about this for a second. Mm-hmm. We were robbed of our names, our culture, our religion, our moral ways, our folk ways, our norms, our God, and our land. We don't have nothing coming to America. Mm-hmm. Then when they brought us here, because they didn't kidnap slaves from Africa. They kidnapped inventors. Mm-hmm. They kidnapped kings and queens. Mm-hmm. They kidnapped gods, rulers, mm-hmm. civilization builders. Mm-hmm. You can't make that kind of person into a slave. Mm-hmm. So when they first brought us to America to be made slaves, they couldn't break us. Mm-hmm. So they killed off all of the adults and spared the children, mm-hmm. and then raised the children in what they call in sociology today something called premature cognitive commitment. Mm-hmm. Cognitive meaning mind, commitment meaning loyalty to. Mm-hmm. Mental loyalty that has been based on programming of a baby that the child learns as a child but operates on their own as an adult. Mm-hmm. Example, goldfish in an aquarium. Put a piece of glass in the middle. Every time the fish hits the glass, it'll turn around. At a certain point, you can remove to a rope. And if the elephant can't break the rope as a baby, when the elephant becomes full grown, strong enough to break the rope and pull the whole tent down, he'll still never break the rope. Mm-hmm. Put fleas in a jar. The jar only 8 inches tall. The vertical of a flea they're born with a vertical of 36 inches. Mm. Born with it. But you put them in a jar 8 inches tall with a piece of plastic on top. Premature cognitive commitment says every time the flea jumps, hits the plastic, and they'll jump no further than the top of the jar. Never jump for freedom. So when you're dealing with us, we're not the flea, we're not the elephant. No, we're not the fish, we the people that have premature cognitive commitment. We were brought into slavery, that it was against all relations on you. On the nights of the wedding ceremony, where did it jump in the room? Because we were sweeping to bring birth to new slaves. It was not to make fathers never allowed to love their children. Do you know that most black mothers during slavery imposed specifically for their baby by the Lord of the worlds? That is so perfect that you don't have to even drink water with it when you eat. Think about that. The rest of your life, you always got to have water. I don't care how good the food is. It has the perfect balance of fiber, amino. They did not get a chance to get breast was used to nurse white babies. You see, this is we're dealing with generational trauma.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about this PTSD. Somebody went to Afghanistan for 9 months and come back, and they supposed to get special treatment and medicine and a monthly check and therapy. Well, hell, what about a people?
Right.
We didn't go to Afghanistan for 9 months and watch 440 years of slavery, suffering, and death, where 600 million black people have been killed in the last 6,000. What kind of trauma has this done to us?
Right.
So I'm saying that to say, I'm not using this, Brother Pat or Sister Ebony or Brother Ray. I'm not saying these things to make an excuse for bad black parenting. But I am saying it to help us understand why black parenting is suffering in America. This is the root of it. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said the so-called American Negro must be, we have to be retaught, retooled, everything. Part of being a better you is being retaught.
Absolutely.
Part of being a better version of self is you have to know that we are abstract and living outside of our nature. We're going to have to learn our nature again so we can be ourselves.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, it's interesting though that you brought up trauma, because that was one of the topics we wanted to talk about, was mental health and well-being, and it seems like it's becoming more popular. Is being removed from that. So, what thoughts do you have on mental health that plague us as a community?
Well, white doctors diagnose black trauma. They go back from your mother and your father, the way you came up in your home. But the trauma we experience is listen, it's just a problem. You say you don't clip the branch. You say you don't cut the trunk. You say when you really want to solve a problem, you must go to the root of the problem. Because if you uproot the problem, get it at the root, it'll never grow back again. But if all you do is chop, what they're doing is they're going at the branch of trauma. My mama, my daddy, they in the projects, they grew up in a single family home. He's seen his brother get killed whenever he was young. See, that's branch trauma. But generational trauma goes down the branch, down the trunk, deep down into the root, once responsible for administering the catastrophic blow. So now that sets up the stage for apology, atonement, and reparations. So you can't solve generational trauma with some little drug that you give, or some little class or therapy session that you give somebody once a week. To solve generational trauma that has been in existence for over 20 generations, you're going to have a serious programmatic thrust of mental healing, and the drugs is all they give. And it's all it is. And I'm saying to anybody, don't give your children none of these drugs. Ritalin is crack for babies.
It is, like literally.
That's what it is. It's crack for babies. It is. And if you give them any of the Ritalin or any of its cousins, then you're setting the brain up of the child to never be able to produce the adequate chemicals for itself. Just quick lesson. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that the human brain is a natural drug manufacturing company. Adrenaline, endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. These are natural chemicals that the brain already produces. Our brain is supposed to see and experience things in life, and then begin manufacturing the chemical that is necessary to deal with and bring balance back to the mind and the body. Problem though, the average human being in America is only using 3 to 8% of their brain power. Imagine if you had a car that was a V12, but you only could run 1 or 2 cylinders.
Wow.
Car not gonna last long. Engine's gonna burn out. You're not gonna be able to get the speed you want to get, or the power. But the law says what you don't use, you lose. So if I'm not using 92 to 97% of my brain power, my whole existence, what I don't use, what's what I done? I lose. So now the brain has become so underdeveloped in America that the human brain that is a drug manufacturing company does not have enough power to manufacture the adequate drugs on the inside to deal with the stress of life on the outside. Right. So people start reaching out for some stuff, and all the stuff that they're giving you is nothing more than a cheap replica of what God gave your brain already. Problem. Look at every commercial for a drug. 30-second commercial. 7 seconds tells you the benefit. 23 seconds is the side effects.
Right.
I mean, and the side effects is, I mean, how am I taking a drug for depression and it tells me that if you begin to have suicidal thoughts? What the hell? Right. What kind of drug is this for depression? Right. I was sad, but I wasn't that sad.
Right.
You telling me that the drug might make me sadder?
Right.
That I didn't went from just not wanting to get up and go to work to now I might want to kill myself?
Right. Right.
Something ain't right.
Absolutely.
So whenever the real formula for trauma is the strengthening of the most important muscle in the body, which is the brain. And the way the brain is made strong is by reading, by resisting evil, mental exercise, and believe it or not, physical exercise. Engaging in those 4 things will keep your brain, make your brain stronger and stronger. And then when the stress of life shows up, you'll automatically activate the norepinephrine, the endorphins, the serotonin, the adrenaline, the dopamine, and it'll start making its own chemical composition. You need 4 ounces of that, and you need 2 ounces of that, and you need 1 drop of through life with harmony and balance. So our children need brain strengthening exercises and good food, not drugs.
Right.
We need to mama, single parent. I watched my brother get shot when I was 12. Yeah, that's the branch. That's the trunk. But the root of the problem is the catastrophic blow that we suffered when we were kidnapped and made slaves. We got to go back to that.
Absolutely.
What advice do you have for educators? I mean, for the educators that are tuning in or anybody working with children, can see, like, we literally see what's coming with our youth right now. We have more children on medication, like you said. We have more children that experience the manifestations of trauma, like you stated. We have more children that just aren't exercising their brain power, even with 2-parent households. You know, just literally like not interested. You know, apathetic.
Some of them are smart and
smart,
in certain things. And
yeah,
they will shut their brain down.
So it's a battle. It's a constant battle for educators to even motivate our youth these days. Not everybody, but I'm saying 70%, good 70%, to motivate them. And like you said, adding to the parents being more supportive in other areas. You know, it's like it alarms me because I'm looking to see what's coming down the pipeline. We were teaching on the Holocaust today. Hitler has a quote that says, "When you control the children, you control the future." So he's 100% correct.
Yeah, he was also talking about the music too.
Yeah, so I mean, coming down the pipe, like what can? Because I mean, it's a constant battle, and then and then the cause and effect to it is educators are leaving because it's like a no-win situation.
And they don't get paid very much.
Yeah, but most of us don't even care about the pay, but it's a constant battle that we feel like it's hard to win.
Well, you know, unfortunately, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad called the public school system of America, he called it the white man's killing field. And that's a hell of a thing to think about. Whenever I say I love my children and I'm dropping them off to walk across some landmines with a lunchbox every morning, I'm dropping them off at a location, and in my mind I got to know that I am a co-conspirator. I'm participating in the assassination of my own son and daughter. They're going to be killed. Now, when he said that, people thought, well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is being extreme because I know plenty of black children that graduated from a public school, and they were alive when they were 18 years old, seniors, and graduated, got a diploma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he was talking about the murder of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So our black babies that go to these schools, they have their hopes, dreams, and aspirations assassinated. Most of, and you know from being in education, the most negative room in the school is the teacher's lounge.
I stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the most negative conversations are held in any school. Is the teacher's lounge. What shouldn't you be in there giving tips and tricks of the trade? And this is how I've been able to motivate someone that came from that same background. Shouldn't we be sharing tips? Why are we talking about? So I'm saying that to say that we have to change the curriculum. And we're not. They're not going to let us change the curriculum inside the school system.
Nutricide.
They're not going to let us change it. So we have to have our own schools. But while we're there, we have to set up a beachhead behind enemy lines. And Robert Collier, who's a Caucasian, who's helped called The Secrets of the Ages, where the secret came from.
Oh, yeah.
The Secret was like a chapter of The Secret of the Ages. But in 1926, Robert Collier said this about education. He said, education is only 1/4 information, and the other 3/4 is encouragement.
Wow.
And look at this. You can't encourage a child with anything better than showing them people that look like him that accomplished great feats in the past. So, George Washington Carver. See, show the little babies. Look at all the stuff this man invented. Take them back to Imhotep. Showing that Plato, Aristotle, Hippocrates, all of them learned from him. He's the first one to invent the stethoscope. He's the father of medicine and of philosophy. And at the age of 14, he was on the post. He was in training to be the president or the king of the most powerful nation in Nefertiti. Let them see Queen Nzinga. Let them see Mansa Musa. So when you let them see people that look like them, guess what you're doing? You give them 3/4 education. That's encouragement. So I would suggest to the teachers, the educators, and the parents that you got to deviate from the curriculum that is in front of you and show the children people that look like them that are. So I'm looking at you, Brother Ray, but I can see Brother Pat, and I can see Sister Ebony. But I'm not looking at them, but my peripheral vision lets me see them. Spiritual peripheral vision means I might be looking at today, but when you've taught me about peripheral vision as alive, even though I'm looking at my work in front of me today at school, I'm thinking about the greatness of those that look like me. And the next thing you know, I'm born strength, because if they can do it and they are me back then I can do it because I'm them right now. And that's what I would suggest.
Absolutely. It seems like in schools that, and then I think about this as an adult, is that our supposed leaders that are supposed to be great and that we're supposed to be proud of, they were assassinated. So it's almost like what you.
That's a sign, Brother Ray, that you're woke. Because you are someone is doing. See, if you want to know something, you ask who, what, when, where, and how.
Right.
But if you want to understand a thing, you ask why. See, why did Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, why would the male in particular reaches maturity at the age of 40? So they knew them reach maturity because they're going to activate in them the multiplication of their power by the maturity of their brain.
Right. And
they will be unstoppable forces to destroy white supremacy. I can't let them get that. So now you think about our history we're taught. History is always from the cotton field to the current, or the plantation to the present. Never are we taught about our history before slavery. Then after we get into slavery, you have the main course is Martin Luther King. side dish of some Rosa Parks, 2 tablespoons of Malcolm X.
Right.
Might get you a shot glass of some Marcus Garvey.
Mhm.
But for the most part,
Maybe, yeah, exactly.
Maybe Marcus.
maybe.
I've never heard Marcus.
But you're looking at the accomplishments of a slave under their slave master.
Right.
Wow.
Then, so our history is you were slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next part of our history is you were slaves. Now, not only were you slaves, but all the great ones that stood up to fight for rights, freedom, justice, and equality. Guess what we did to them? We killed all of them.
Mm.
So now the mind suggests
Mm-hmm.
that, man,
There's a limitation.
I can't be nothing because I'm a slave.
Right.
And if I try to be something, they're going to kill me.
Right.
So I might as well just get comfortable and
Yeah.
happy and try to go along and get along and just do the best I can to be the highest ranking second-class citizen I possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't say it,
Right.
but the way we live proves that that's how we think.
For sure. One thing that I think that this America's code. Let me tell you, because how do you convince an entire country that supposedly 13% of America, you know, which I believe is somewhere between 13 and 18, you know, there's a lot of are the most unruly. How do you convince the whole country that this population is why things always go bad?
Well, you know, and they try to make the effect the cause,
Mm-hmm.
and they try to make our response or reaction the initiation of a cycle of action.
Mm.
But we're not doing what we're doing as the cause. We're the effect of something else.
Right.
So that's the magic trick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the performance of a magic trick to make you look one way and be doing something with a sleight of hand on another side. They know, and as we were saying, the versus the grafted people, and grafted people are Caucasian people that have only been on the planet for about 6,000 years, while we have been on the planet for trillions of years. Original and aboriginal people. We are. When they were digging as anthropologists looking for the origin of man, they were started in Europe because they thought white people were the Adam and the Eve of the earth. Every time they dug, they never found Caucasian bones past 6,000 years of age. But even in Europe, they would find black people bones 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. And they came to a conclusion after a couple of decades of digging in Europe that if even in Europe, the white continent, we find black bones older than all the white bones we found, maybe we should go to the black continents. And they went to Africa and began digging, and they found the man that they called the oldest man, and they named him a Greek name. They called him Zinjanthropus. Anthropus meaning human being, man. Zinj in Greek meaning black.
There it is.
The oldest man, the black man. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the original man possesses 3 times the mental and physical strength of the grafted man. So that's the reason the playing field is never level.
Right.
Because if the playing field was ever level, we would dominate. Because we have the mental and the physical strength that is 3 times that of our Caucasian counterpart. So they always have to create laws and systems to be able to keep the playing field uneven so they can stay on top. That's part of the...
Absolutely. That you got to get older to find out more information about what's really going on, because your eyes start opening to so many things. So in this instance where the laws that are produced that says that, well, you won't get shot if you put your hands up. You won't get shot if you got a license to carry. You know, you won't get killed if you're a good citizen with a gun that's trying to save somebody.
Right.
And every single day we're proving that it doesn't matter.
Or just comply.
Your skin is a weapon. You ain't not hearing what I'm telling you. Your black skin is a weapon. It is a threat to white supremacy. The nature of the hyena It's a threat to them. It's a natural response.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you said, brother, he's the one stopping a mass shooter in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
He is a security guard.
Mm-hmm.
They're yelling, he's one of us. Nature can't hear that.
Right.
Nature see black man. Walter Scott killed for running while black. Sandra Bland killed for driving while black. Freddie Gray, he's killed for just living while black.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Garner, he killed for selling CDs while black. Alton Sterling killed for, or he selling loose cigarette. Alton Sterling killed for selling CDs while black. Trayvon Martin killed for walking home while black. What about the Charleston Nine? They got killed for praying while black. What can you do?
And it took him to Burger King.
Dylan Roof. The white man, now, every time they come to get us, we always got to get killed. But you find a way to use a lack of violence and excessive force when it comes to your own.
Right.
What about the little arrested? They don't get a bump or a bruise. But us, our skin is a weapon. And what this tells us is this sets a foundation for us having to regulate our own affairs and make our communities separated. They're segregated now, which is to be apart but be unjustly handled, unjustly dealt with, and not receive the resources from within your own environment that you produce for yourself. Separation, which means we stay in our communities like everybody else does. Chinatown, Jewtown, Little Havana, Little Haiti in Miami. But all their tax dollars stay right there.
Yeah.
They educate their own children. They patrol their own environment. They regulate affairs, and they do business with one another. I did some math yesterday while I was at the gym, and I started tearing up on the stair machine. Do you know that if we just spent money with each other, it's crazy. This would mean that each one of us would be able to be in possession of $234,000 a year.
Wow.
If we just did business with one another.
Right.
Now, check this out. If every home lived a lifestyle of $34,000 per head, that's men, women, and children. And you know we got households that's taking care of 8 people on 34,000, and they function.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had $34,000, $50,000 a year, and if you live like that, each one of you in the home could put up $200,000 a year, and in 5 years you could live a $150,000 a year lifestyle with a family of 4 and be a millionaire in 5 years if we just spent our money with one.
Wow.
Think about that math.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
So we got the power.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have the resources. We've got the dollars. We just need to get the sense.
Get a sense. So what?
Sin. We call it the sin of integration. Integration has meant disintegration. Look back in history. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he said, out of all of our studies, history is best qualified to reward the researcher. Nothing's like. Isn't that what an application is?
Yeah.
Whatever you're trying to do, whenever you're courting somebody to marry them, you want to know how to hit you back's future. We always calculate the past. Well, in their hotels, ride on their buses, or ride in their taxi cabs. Guess what? We had our own taxi cab stores and our own hospitals, our own clinics,
Banks,
our own banks. Why? Because they would not let us do business with them. All right, Negroes, you can come and eat with us. You can sleep in our hotels now. They treated us bad. They spit in ourselves. And you will look at history. Soon as white people let us get on their bus, our bus companies closed down. Soon as they let us sleep in their hotels, our hotels went out of business. So integration meant black disintegration of everything that we could call our own. You can't pass on a job to your children, but you can pass on what they can do. They can do it bigger and better than you did it, because they know what you taught them, plus they know what they know. And now they can continue to increase legacy. But hell, you can't pass a job on to your children. So integration has meant disintegration. We need to go back to following the first law of nature, self-preservation. And that's not racist.
Right.
No, that just means that I have a self-interest. Every nation has a right to and should have a self-interest. And my self-interest is first. I got to look out for me and mine before I'm ever worth anything for you and yours.
Right.
And if we don't, we're going to continue to be $1.1 trillion in cash coming in a year with only 1% of the wealth of the United States in our possession. Do you know that we have the exact same amount of wealth right now in 2018 as black people that we had in 1867, 2 years out of slavery? Wealth. See, income and money is resources that you can exchange. But wealth is things that you have that either maintain its value or increase in value over time that you use your money to get. We only have 1% of the wealth, meaning we only have 1% of the stuff that holds its value or increases in value, which is real estate. You see that pause up on that? Real estate and businesses. That's the only thing that maintains.
Every single question that is in my head. My next question was, how is money? Because we as people tend to think that money is wealth, and we're like literally having seminars and teaching that that's wealth.
But we engage in retail therapy though. See, so you have people, they've already studied the human brain under brain scanners of shoppers. Close to heroin. It's very close to cocaine.
I agree.
You can get just as excited 100%. About it. And that's why people do a lot of returning of stuff. Because it wasn't about the product, it was about the hunt. You excited about being able to get it. They even have found that as much as it has increased because you feel like someone's giving you a gift.
Wow.
You think of something's coming to your door, it's a box, you unwrapping it.
Yeah.
Hell, you paid for it though.
Yeah.
It ain't no gift, you bought it.
Right.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
It says it's 8 stops away. Oh, I can't wait. and you actually, we have to find a way to rehardwire our brain where we disconnect happiness from spending and take happiness, disconnect it from spending and put it in investing and saving.
Yep.
And if we can get the same rush that we get from retail therapy by starting little businesses, showing our children how to run the business and generating money, then that we get from retail therapy, then we'll be able to renegotiate this paradigm and change that culture. Because I promise you, you'll feel much better being able to do for yourself and make a living. Then doing anything. I'm saying you will have greater mental, spiritual, emotional, and psychological health making $30,000 a year working for yourself than making $200,000 a year working for your enemy. Try it out and see if I'm telling the truth. Doing for self.
Wow, that's the conviction. I'm like, so I mean, because I didn't think about not until recently my spending habits, how my children see my spending habits. They're paying attention to that. Using my credit card, you know. The fact that just today my daughter was like, what, the gold one? And I'm like, dang, you ain't supposed to know. You know, you're not supposed to remember that kind of stuff. And so I said, we're gonna cut my credit cards up together, you know, just to, you know, and then, you know, just having those candid conversations about getting out of debt, you know, so they can see, hopefully they'll learn. I mean, I'm just being transparent. I got good credit. And I was like, shoot, which increased my spending, my spending habits. So now I'm coming back down from that, you know. So, I mean, what you just said as far as our children, that is like, you know, I was convicted. I felt convicted when you said that because I'm like, dang it, that's one thing I didn't think about is how my children watch me spend versus save or invest.
We're from royalty. It's just as simple as that. We're used to having drip.
Right.
That's what we're used to doing. That's also generational trauma, generational royalty, and generational divinities in us too.
Oh yeah.
See, if we create an image and likeness of God, you got divine DNA, holy heredity, and God's genetic makeup. And if we are the builders of Timbuktu, the Nile Valley civilization, the city of Atlantis, and invented everything on the planet, you also have prosperity in your plasma. The rest of the world, we like nice stuff. We just have to find a way to earn it instead of borrowing it on time to get it, and making sure that we are looking at producing future revenue. That's something that makes me happier than it can be achieved.
I was going to say that's that accountability that we have to take a hold of. You know, because at some point, you know, we have to look in the mirror and say, okay, well, what can I do? You know, to make this better. You know, because let's be real. And if we live in this, which is a capitalistic country. So that doesn't mean that you can't do anything. You can absolutely take advantage of the resources that are here. So, you know, at some point in time, we can reflect on, and it's good to get back to the root and understand how it happened, when it happened. And honestly, I think that if America truly wanted to help, you know, black folk, that they would re-educate properly. You know,
that's too much like right though, brother. Right. You talking about something too much like right, man.
I know.
That's too much like right.
I know. I know.
See, a slave master will never teach the slave what he knows. Because if the slave knows what the slave master knows, he's the slave no more. You cannot be in bondage to someone that knows less than what you know. Tourism culture, the employed. So Hosea 4:6 says, "My people are destroyed from a lack of." You know what that means? That what you have more.
Absolutely.
We don't have what we want to have because we don't know. Example, we have a barber and beauty salon. And in our salon, I was saying to the brother, he was complimenting something that I had, and I was like, "Yes, sir. It don't mean nothing like that." He said, "Yeah, I understand." I said, you know, brother, that the less you have on the inside, the more you need on the outside to feel like you something. He said, "Man, you saying something." He said, "My partner." And do you know he didn't go?
Wow.
He stayed in all night, and he had them FedEx overnight package his jewelry for the next day.
Wow.
He said, and I went to the counter with him like Clark Kent went in the phone booth and Superman came out.
Wow.
Look what he said. He said, my partner, when he put it on his jewelry, he said, "Boy, look, I'm back." And is that you have so little on the inside that even because real pride doesn't come from the jewels in your watch or your chain or your ears. Real brother don't have nothing on the inside.
Right.
He needs more on the outside.
Wow.
So health is wealth. And knowledge is what really, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said this, we were sharing this the other day because the minister, he asked 3 weeks ago, he said, "I want to see love break out in the ghetto." Giving the best gift that you can give to anybody is kindness. He said, "Let's start a revolution of kindness in the ghetto." Prophet Muhammad said this, manners. So that these places to make yourself up. You can get 48-inch Brazilian wavy. It's not gonna do what good manners can do.
Right.
You can have on Gucci, Prada, whatever. Good manners looks better than Gucci. Good manners looks better than a sew-in. Good manners makes you more beautiful than any MAC makeup kit you can put on. So if you and I would get knowledge in our head, have health in our body, and express what we would be so beautiful, we wouldn't need a whole lot of stuff on the outside to make us into something.
Wow. Hey, then we want to touch on the student. Remember the student at the basketball game? Remember that, Ray?
Oh, yeah. So, Center Grove, I don't know if you heard through the grapevine or seen any news, but there was a basketball game between Cathedral and Center Grove this past week. Was it this week or this past week? And one of the kids, James Franklin Jr., his dad is, so a lot of know him as DJ JF, the legend. You know, he's on the radio. This is his son.
Yeah.
And he plays basketball for Cathedral. And he had a bad case of seizures for a long time.
He suffers from
epilepsy, and he had surgery, and they eliminated, through the surgery.
Not eliminated. I don't think they.
I mean, he hasn't had any surgery since they had his surgery.
Yeah, helped his symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know the proper.
Treated it.
Yeah. I don't know the proper language for that, but it helped him be able to, have a somewhat of a normal life.
Yeah.
And so they played Center Grove, and Center Grove has a guy who's supposed to be the king of distraction, one of the students who dresses up and acts crazy and does all these things, and the crowd started chanting something about epilepsy, and trying to get him. He was at the free throw line.
Hope you have a seizure. I think.
Hope you have a seizure, something like that. He was at the free throw line. He's trying to shoot these free throws, and the crowd is chanting. Wow. And then this guy is standing there. Did he have his
took his shirt off? Yeah,
face on him.
Yeah,
he had the face on there, and then he started doing these epilepsy rolls and seizures and stuff, and he got called out for it. So so the whole world is attacking this student, and so now people are coming to his rescue,
victimizing him,
and saying that he's actually the victim because he's a student, and students always mess up, and he said he was sorry for it, and I'm starting to notice this trend where things that we're victim, like when we're the victim, it's all of a sudden turned on us like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is that we're not valuable enough.
Mm-hmm.
The premium on Black life is not valuable enough. Your life, Brother JF's son, in their eyes, his life is not worthy of white discomfort. So I didn't hear the chant. I heard the explanation of the guy that said he did it, and he was acting like, I didn't mean it. I didn't even know about it. I didn't know. Now, if that was true, then then you have to say, okay, well, we give you a pass. But if there was a chant, and you heard a chant about having a seizure, epilepsy, then that means that if we heard it in the crowd, he heard it, and the gestures that he was doing was matching what he was hearing.
Right.
So he and all of them are accountable. But every time Black people do a little wrong, it's vilified and made to be criminal.
Right.
And every time white people do big wrong, it's sanitized and made to look small. This is another form of injustice.
Yeah.
So, I would like, again, see, I'm not, in my mindset is either the school or the district does right, or my son's coming up out of there.
Right.
I ain't sending my son to a school that won't even stand up for him whenever a blatant public injustice has been done.
Right.
But that's a call that he has to make. But I'm saying that to say that this is just another piece of evidence that can be brought to the court of Black people saying we got to do more for ourselves and stop depending upon. I should not have to send my children to a white Catholic school that's going to indoctrinate them with a white Mary and a white Jesus and look out for the white students more than my black son,
Mm.
even though I'm paying the same amount of money that they're paying
Mm.
to get a good enough education to make them qualified for the next level of college learning. We should have our own institution
Sure.
that we support. And if a black school, we have a school, Muhammad University of Islam. We started as K through 6, and we've only been able to do K through 6. We got a few 7th graders now, but the level of patriotism. You know, when they talk about a patriot, this is someone that has loyalty to their own nation.
Right.
See, the level of patriotism that we have for our own is so low because in our mind we still think that sugar from a white man's store is sweeter and ice from a white man's store is colder. So to get an education from Chautauqua or Park Tudor or Cathedral or Brebeuf, that's really doing it. But a black school that can teach you better, we charge at our school $70 a week. And we struggling to get the adequate enrollment of black parents because it's out of the way. It's 5 minutes off the route. 5 minutes off the route. I don't think I can't afford it. But you telling me that you can drive a Lexus?
Sacrifice.
You can drive a Benz. You can drive an Escalade. And you can drop your babies off at a public school in a $100,000 truck. Wouldn't it make sense that you should go a few years back and maybe just get you a Yukon 2 years older and use the rest of that for tuition for education of our baby? But our priorities are out of whack. And I would say for us, we have to become more patriotic, and we have to see lack of economic support of one another as really an act of treason.
Wow.
It's treason.
Yeah.
No, you're funding the enemy. You know that they're killing us. Why would you fund that? In any civilized nation, treason is punishable by death. I'm not saying we should kill you, you know, for going to McDevil's instead of Eat to Live Cafe, or the White Casket, or the Murder King, or Taco Hill. Or
I have and we're gonna get Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
And after the show, he made a post 2 Netflix specials, Lucky Draws and
Very good post. Very good post. And straight words and comedy. But when you leave, just like if a person go past, the humor fades away, and the really on the stage and to expose. Look at me.
Right.
And look at him.
Right.
And is a good thing because it should wake us up.
Right.
And you don't need all of that to be somebody.
Right.
You know, but that's and ain't none of them paying you for saying this stuff.
Right.
You're not Gucci. Don't sponsor these brothers.
Right.
Ye Saint Laurent you ain't seen them give no deal with nobody for marketing. Well, we doing it every day. So what I'm gonna do, I can sell them for half the price.
Absolutely.
Some white sissy's name on our clothes in order to feel like we do as we do. So I like to see, Chris Brown and his other clothing line. I like to see the brothers doing what they're doing, and hope that we will support it. But you don't even see
half of that. The expensive stuff that's out there isn't even as much as it costs. Payless did a test.
Yes,
sold them for $600, and they were selling like hotcakes.
Wow.
Same shoes.
What made them buy them? Did they change the
No,
brand?
they gave the people their money back.
$600 on some nursing home shoes.
Wow.
But they were the regular Payless brands. And they freedom, justice, and equality. Money in the script talked about earlier with the carrot from the 50s versus now is plant that seed in good soil. And I'm saying, looking to raise 23 million, the thermometer go up, and with 40 to get a few $1,000s to be, that black people can put the seed of their revenue in is the Nation of Islam under the base initiatives. A fish sausage sandwich from Eat to Live to the school. Do some kind of seed with us, and I promise you, what you're gonna get from us won't go out of style like that Gucci belt.
You know, and the last thing is you know, I've been watching you know, guys' videos for a long time. It continues to happen. Yeah, so it's like we got this information, we know what we're supposed to do, but still ain't doing nothing. You know?
Well, there's, you know, it's never enough to. We don't have a deficit on all of that comes from, as we said, these principles to our lives as a person, family, and still with poor self-worth. We think ourselves to be too inadequate, too weak, not strong enough to do it for the amount of time that's required for us to be there. So instead, we just, you know.
Wow. Please repeat that.
And unfortunately, the minister has thousands of lectures people have put on there, millions of views. But we're hearing it, but we've become cheerleaders. We're fans. That comes in that same line of divine as the great ones that we have two sights, insight and hindsight. We admit as regular people, the only thing we can see accurate is the stuff that already happened. But a servant of God, a messenger of God, has a third future by the permission of God. So if God allows you to have somebody that can see into the future, yet he's communicating with you in the present, it will make sense that, man, if I can know what's going to come on the news before it even happens, then I can make the how do they even keep a job? I mean, that's the only job I know of, that and the president. That you can lie all the time. And still keep your job.
Tomorrow comes 58.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Consistent pattern of messing up. But the minister is like a spiritual weatherman telling us about the soul years later. And if we just have a better job and we have a bad history as a people of running our leaders' names through the streets while they are alive and then naming the streets after them after they're dead.
Wow.
We have a bad history of praying on our leadership when we should be praying for our leadership. But we should really be praying, praying for the leadership. We shouldn't be waiting too long to salute them.
I always enjoy having you come, man. Absolutely. My man back there. I know y'all, look, you famous, you don't know it, but you famous. We get his brother in the back, man. He about to get somebody.
Every time I see Brother Nuri's videos and pictures, I'm like, okay, there he is.
I was watching what else is there.
Him and the brothers take the message and make sure that we have the easiest on the word. So I thank Allah for him and the soldiers.
And it's a lot of people with vendettas. So, you know, it's good to have protection.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. And you will be speaking in tongues. Media team, thank you so much. Renegotiate our thinking and recalibrate the minds of our people. And I hope want to not.
That's right.
And let's start and then tomorrow and keep being great again.
There it is. Keep
that
energy all year long.
That's right.
Thank you, man, for coming.
Thank you, sir.
If there's anything that, you know.
Nuri Muhammad on there, that's easily, you can download them straight to your, come visit us. Right at 22. What?
Yeah, I know what that is.
3 blocks, come see us. Right there on 38th in Baltimore. We have a restaurant, babies. We would love an opportunity to give them the encouragement.
And actually, I posted the address for the mosque. Somebody asked where MUI was, so I posted the address. But, of course, if you show up at 2248 East 38th Street, you'll see Studio 74, and you'll see How to Eat to Live.
You know, free admission. There's no cost, and you don't have to be Muslim. Well, we invite any of our people to come out. You don't have to join to get knowledge. Come and check us out. And I think if you like anything we said on the platform today, you're gonna love.
Back here, man. Appreciate y'all. I'm thankful for the viewers who always support us and tune in and share
Shout
our
out to the
live
viewers,
feeds. We
man.
can't do it without people who support us. We do this as a voluntary service because we want to be a part of the change that we want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we thank y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, and we will see y'all again next week. Peace out.
Thanks again, brother. I didn't even notice it.
Man, that's awesome.
You saw it on the feed?
Notice what?
Brother Nuri. Oh, I thought it was crooked. Okay.
That too. To you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank y'all. Really appreciate it.